Hi guys, welcome to Mustache Plates, and in this video I'll show you how I created this stylized blender artwork using a very simple setup. You see, recently I created this artwork, and after finishing it I tried to simplify the texturing process, and the result wasn't that far off from the original. So let me show you how I did it. Now before I show anything, let me show you the complete setup. The whole scene itself is not that very complicated. The modeling process, the texturing, everything is kept very simple. So let's start. Let's start with composition. For this artwork, I have kept the composition pretty simple. It's going to be a dark room with a big window in the middle of it, and that's also going to be our focal point. The sun or the light is also going to come through the window, so that's also going to be the brightest spot in the whole of the artwork. And that's all there is to this to the composition part. Let's talk about modeling. One thing I did for this particular artwork is I followed the rule of symmetry. So every single thing that I model in this particular artwork, everything has a mirror modifier applied to it. Since I was doing a cabin scene, I could pretty much get away with making everything else in a complete symmetry. All the benches, the handles, everything can be all just symmetrized, and I have only done half of it. Now if we are talking about the actual modeling, things are pretty simple. For the actual cabin, it's a cube where I have done some inserts to create the window face, and then I just deleted the main face that I've done, and then I just deleted half of it so I can use the mirror modifier and only do half of it. Then for the seats, as you can see from the shape itself, it's also done through a cube. I've also just made the shape to be a bit more curvy rather than being the blocky like the cube there is actually. For the railing, I have just used cylinders to make them, and once I did one, I just keep copy pasting them everywhere else so I don't have to do it again and again. And that's all of the modeling that there is. Let's talk about texturing. For texturing, I always like to do it in two steps. One is before lighting and one is after the lighting. For before lighting, all I want to do is to just set my color scheme. I just want to know what kind of color scheme or color pattern the whole artwork is going to follow, and the rest of the detailing or whatever extra texturing that I actually want to do is done after I have set up my lighting part. For this particular artwork, I'm gonna go with a red and yellow kind of color scheme. The main or the bulk of the cabin is gonna be in red, and then everything in the accessory part is gonna be in yellow. So all the handles gonna be in yellow, the rest of the cabin and the flooring or ceiling is all gonna be in the red. So I've taken this dark red color to showcase the shadowing part, and then a slight reddish for all the mid-ground if there is any. Then if there is any kind of highlight shown anywhere in the scene, I'll also do it in the bright yellow color. The main material setup is gonna be the cell shader setup with principal BSDF and shader to RGB connected to the color ramp, and I have done this for every single thing in this artwork. Every single one of them has the cell shader with just different colors. Now let's talk about lighting. For this lighting, I want it to be as I explained in the conversation before, it's going to be light coming in from the outside, so the sun is going to shine from outside. So I have taken one sun lamp as my main source of light, and then I have angled it so it can shine inside, or I can get these particular highlights shining inside the cabin. And once I got that, I used the same sun lamp, and then I just duplicated it twice more because I wanted it to have a bit more highlight on the seats. So everything is same, it's just a bit of rotation. And once I got that, all I did is I did few more point lamps, and then I kept placing them wherever I wanted a bit more highlights to appear. So it would be in this particular artwork is when the light is shining from the outside, there's gonna be some kind of bounce lighting. So maybe the handles in the front, and then the railing that's beside. There would be some more highlights that I wanted to show in some other area. So I just kept using the point lamp to just place wherever I want the lights to be. I could have increased the strength of the sun lamp, but I felt this way is much more, I'm able to control the lighting a bit more. So I just kept using the point lamps for this. And just to show, I don't really use the wall lighting for this. I always just keep it to 0. I always use the secondary lighting, be it the sun lamp or the point lamp for this, or for all my artworks. And that's all with the lighting department. With this, my lighting is done. I also use these sun blocks because let me show you something. When I set up my sun lab, I was getting a bit unwanted highlights, and I just wanted to eliminate that. So I just put some these cubes outside so I could just eliminate all of them, and they wouldn't show in the actual final render. Now that the lighting is done, we can continue with our texturing. In this secondary texturing, we're gonna go a bit more detail into our cell shader that we have created previously. One is give a bit more texture to the cell shader that we have created. Also, we're gonna do a slight bit of gradient to the colors that we have created. So for the texture part, I'm gonna use the Vorona texture and then just gonna stretch it in one direction so I can get these horizontal lines or scratch marks or whatever you're gonna call them that we always see in the wooden texture. And then I can use the color ramp to control how much of them do I really want them in my scene. After that, what I'm gonna do is use gradient texture to create a fall off. So the whole idea is wherever there is the point of the light or the part closest to the light is gonna be the brightest, and then when it's gonna go away from the lightning, it's gonna be the darkest. Sort of like the area nearest to the light is getting the bounce light. So using this gradient, I can just control how much I want the darkest and my brightest spot to be. Then I'm just gonna multiply it with the actual cell shader that I've created, and this way I can control the bounce light, or I can just fake the bounce light effect. And then I have done this for every single thing. Another thing I have done for this particular rim is I have increased the brightness amount for this, since this is getting directly affected by the sunlight, or the sunlight is falling directly on it. So this is going to be our brightest spot in the whole of the artwork. It will also help when we later create any kind of bloom effect, or when we are going to create any kind of contrast. So this is going to shine the most. So what I've done is I've just increased the value to 1.5, so it will be a bit more brighter than the rest of the objects around. Same for the flooring also. The parts closest to the camera is going to be the darkest, and then the one that's near to the highlight is going to be the brightest. And then I've just done the lines over there also. And the rest of them is just rinse and repeat. Every single one of them is getting the same treatment. You can always leave them as the basic cell shader. It will also work. But I also like to create some kind of variation to them. So I always like to have this small little variation added to all my textures. Another thing that I've also done is to create these outlines. This outline helps to give it a bit more stylized anime look, more of a 2D look. Okay, so for this, there's two parts to it. One is a texture. The second part is the actual geometry nodes. For the texture, I kept it pretty basic. It's just RGB color and then attached to the material output. You can select whatever color you want for the outlines. I went with black because of the outlines. And then you have to just change the settings for the material itself that you have created. For geometry nodes, I have done set position followed by the scale in normal. And then I have done the flip faces, and I use the set material, so I can select the material that I have just created, and that's all there is. Then I can use the scale amount to control how thick I want the outlines to be, and that's all there is to the outline method. You can use this and then copy to all the other objects, and they will also have the same outlines, and then you can individually control how much thick you want them to be. Let's talk about some environmental stuff also. I also added some fog to my final render. Since the sunlight is coming straight from the outside, I think this is a perfect time to just add some kind of fog. I used a principal volume and gave it a slight emission strength, and then use the same color or something similar to the color that I'm using for my highlight. And then I also created these small little dust particles, and then just give them a tiny bit of emission. They're not that visible, but it's just creating a small tiny effect. For the background, I just use these 2D images for the mountains and the clouds, and also use some 2D images of the trees that could be nearer to the window, so you can create certain kind of depth. For the actual animation, I just use the same image, applied the array modifier, and then I just keep moving them in one direction. For my compositing, I like to do pretty much the same stuff. I like to create a subtle lens distortion, followed by contrast using the RGB curves, and then the Gaussian filter, and then finally some small amount of box sharpening, and then finally the bloom effect. Let me put the final compositing notes here, so you can see all the stuff that I've done with the amount that I've used. And let me show you the difference between before and after. So it's gotten a bit more darker, so because of the contrast, and then the bloom effect is in full swing. That's all there is to this artwork. This is how I created it. These are all the steps that I've taken, all the decisions I've took to create this artwork. I hope you can take away some of the tips and tricks from this artwork and then apply to your own projects. Or maybe if you want to just recreate this, you can also do that. If you want to know anything else, you can leave a comment behind. Or if you want, you can check out some of the other projects that I've done. And if nothing, then just follow me on Instagram. I do post a lot of work in progress and then final artwork. I'll see you again. Thank you. Bye bye.